say, all right, Purdue, you've invested. You've demonstrated this is an important aspect of certainly the sports program, but we view football as a way to activate our 450,000 living alums. And I think people are seeing that we stepped up to bring a staff. You heard Darrell say we're going to hire the very best possible staff. We thoroughly, you know, I told him, I said, I want to go back to Pasadena. So I told you guys 2 weeks ago, I want to go back to Pasadena.
Mike Merritt from the Associated Press. Coach, can you talk a little bit about, my understanding is the fact that you're going to coach the bowl game for Kent State?
I am.
And you want to get out on the road and make sure the commits are there and that. How do you balance that?
Well, my calendar looks like this. I'm going to fly back tonight. I will spend the next 2 days at Kent preparing practice. We'll practice on Friday and Saturday. I'm going to hop in the car, drive back over here Saturday, spend Sunday, Monday through Thursday talking to the previous staff, interviewing the previous staff. During the daytime, at nights, I'm going to go visit recruits, and I'm going to go back out for our practice. We're in finals next week, as you are, correct? And then we'll have a 4-day practice right before Christmas break. We'll take a few days off. I'm going to come back out here with the family. We're going to look at some houses on the 21st and 22nd. Take a day off for Christmas, and then go back out there, and we're going to fly out to Mobile on January the 2nd. And then I'll be here permanently January 7th.
Let me add that under the NCAA rules, there are provisions that allow you to recruit at one institution and coach at another. It requires some waiver provisions that we're prepared to seek. So he'll be within the guise of the NCAA rules.
Always.
You remember the first value, integrity. That's good.
Sam? This question's for all three of you. We're starting with the coach. Just the significance of being the first African-American football or basketball coach here and win the fourth in the Big Ten.
I got that same question in my last job. It's an honor. It's an honor to be here, and you know, I love making a difference in kids' lives, and so be it that race has something to do with it, but I don't put much into that.
Did you want Morgan to touch on
that? Yeah, I would just say that to me, the email that I got from a mother of a former player from Ohio State today probably symbolized why he's the right guy, irregardless of race. And that mother said, you know, I don't normally send an email to an AD, but my son was recruited at Ohio State and played for Darrell. She said the Purdue people don't know what a gem they've gotten. And so I said, you know what, she didn't have to take the time. I sent that on to all of our parents because I want them to understand the commitment we have to these young men. We can get, if they feel that commitment, they'll play at a level, they'll study at a level, and they'll comport themselves in a manner that will make Purdue proud, make their families proud.
Dr. Sands?
Well, we hired Coach Hazell because he's the best person for the job, period. That said, life experience and relating to student athletes and all stakeholders is an important part of being a head football coach. And I'll let him describe what his life experience brings to that, but we're just glad to have Darrell Hazell.
Let's go back to Mike here, and then we'll get Mike over. Or, I'm sorry, Stacy.
Coach Stacy Faraday with Gold and Black. We were able to kind of talk to a couple of your former coaches today, and they keep saying how you're disciplined and you're detail-oriented, but you still are able to kind of balance kind of the tough guy kind of thing to relate to the players. I guess, how would you describe your, I guess, why you got to this point in terms of your characteristics and how you're able to relate to the guys?
I think there's a criteria you set with your guys. And I think you have to be demanding, and you have to hit all your checkpoints in order to be successful. And you lay it all out for them in the beginning, and you say, here are the expectations. There are no shortcuts. And then as they hit those checkpoints, you're able to pat them on the back and embrace those guys. But there's a certain level of expectation that everybody in the organization must meet. And that really goes back to my whole philosophy as a program, is that every person in the organization. The A players must get A's. And if you're an A player, you have to get an A. If you're a B player, you have to get a B. No one in the organization underachieves. If you can do that, you're going to be pretty successful.
For Coach Hazell, just how quickly do you want to get your staff assembled, and what is your timeline for that?
The most important thing is I get it right. So however long it takes, these guys touch these guys' lives every single day. And the most important thing is for me to take time, make sure we're getting the exact person that we need, and mesh this all together. I mean, there's 9 guys, 10 guys in the room, knowing these idiosyncrasies at 10 o'clock at night. All those things are important, and their work ethic, and making sure that our kids get the right guy around them. That's the most important thing. So I don't really have a timeline.
Yeah, Coach. Jeff Washburn, Lafayette Journal Courier. In talking to a variety of and a lot about Kent State, could you address that?
Yes. I don't know if you recall, but we got on TV for the first time this year because our guy ran the wrong way. They laughed at us. But throughout the course of the season, we worked on some good things. We had a great little running back, kick return guy, Dre Archer. And we started putting strings of wins together, 10 wins in a row, all those things. And maybe that gave us some national publicity, and I think that'll help, but it has no bearing on how well we do here, not zero.
Coach, obviously, Morgan Burke and President Sands here have shown some commitment, a commitment to you. Can you talk a little bit about the commitment that they've made to the assistant staff, maybe any kind of upgrades or anything like that? And Morgan, you know, if you want to chime in on that, it's fine too.
He's got all the money he needs to hire the best staff.
I concur with that.
That's Mike Clef.
This question is for Morgan Burke, Mike Clef, WLFI. Morgan, just the very, very, very first time you met Darrell, your very, very first impression of him.
I thought he was going to be taller. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, there's a calmness about him. You can feel the intensity, but there's a calmness in his eyes. That's what I noticed when we were, you know, he was sitting in a conference room in the Akron-Canton airport, and got Calvin and Nancy and Ryder and myself, so there's 4 people kind of zeroing in on you, and great eye contact, and you were connecting with, he was connecting with you. He wasn't talking above you or just kind of all over the place. There was a calmness, but you could see the eyes were, I mean, the focus was kind of very intense. I thought, you know, if you're late in a game and those kids look over the sideline, that's probably the face I'd want to see. Somebody who gives you that sense of confidence that, hey, we've been in these problems before, we can get out of here.
Back to Mike.
I have a 2-part question for Coach Hazell and Morgan. First of all, what has Jim Tressel meant to you in your career? And for Morgan, did you talk to Jim Tressel about Darrell, and kind of what was the feedback?
Coach Tress and I talked last night probably 3 different times. You talk about calmness. He's a guy that always has a way of putting things to make you at ease. And he did that for me yesterday. We were going through all this decision making, but he was a guy that kept calling me back and saying, what do you need? What else do you need to hear? But he's been an unbelievable guiding light for me for the last 7 years. He really has.
And the answer is yes, I did. I had a considerable discussion on 2 occasions with Jim. The football gang of 3, as I call them, were unbelievably helpful. They could run references, they could get through to people. I mean, if Ryan Grigson or Will Pulley or Rick Smith are on your speed dial, you're going to pick up that phone. And when these searches start moving and you want to connect dots, the ability to acquire information as quickly as you can and get accurate information is important. So I spent quite a bit, and I've known Jim Tressel for a long time, and I admire him for the many great things that he's done in his career. And he knows Purdue. He told me he didn't like coming here a couple times. Came out with a bad outcome, but he just said this is the perfect spot for Darrell. He gets the kind of the work ethic. And he went on, gave me some great examples. And I said, you know, I just don't think we're going to get our fan base excited if we line up, you know, and play like Wisconsin. I just think, you know, that's not who we are, and it's probably not, when he does the evaluation of talent, who we are. He says, don't worry about that. He says, drove me crazy, wanted me to throw the ball all the time. And I said, well, I don't think he has to throw it all the time, but, you know, a little bit of the time. And he said, you won't have any trouble with that. But he was helpful. Probably didn't say, maybe he was going back and forth, Darrell. Maybe he was talking to me and then talking to him. I didn't ask him to do that, but maybe he helped connect the dots a little bit, because when you're moving, you know, these guys are coming off very stressful seasons. They're trying to sort out, you know, really life-changing moves in a matter of days, and that's just the way it is. They understand it. But boy, you really want to try to make sure you make the right decision with the right information. So, to me, Grigson, Smith, Pullin, and Jim and Darrell's case were exceedingly helpful to make sure that from a football, from a character standpoint, things you can't glean in an interview, they were able to help, I think, create some assurances for us that were important.
Hey, Coach, again, it's Pete DePringer of Fulton News Center. Can you talk a little bit about your recruiting philosophy, recruiting approach? The previous staff really hit the South hard. How exactly are you going to implement that?
Well, I think we got to start here in our own state and find out which are the best players available that can help us win championships. And then you touch the contiguous states, Illinois and Ohio. I think we need to go down south and maybe hit. I've had some experience since '88 recruiting Florida. I know we need to probably get into Texas based on meeting every third kid down in the dinner line was from Texas. But I also think there's a corridor along the I-95 East Coast that's rich with skilled players, where you may be able to go over there and pull one or two skilled players that can help you win.
Kyle Charters, Golden Black Illustrated. Coach Morgan's talked a lot about the cradle of quarterbacks. When he talks that much about it, what does that mean to you?
Cradle of quarterbacks?
Yeah.
Well, there's been phenomenal quarterbacks come through here. Start Bob Greasy and Drew Brees and all those other guys, Painter, and the list goes on. And I think you have to. I think that's one of the draws about this place, is that you can get some of those marquee quarterbacks to come here because of the reputation that those guys have put out in front of us.
Sam? Coach, you talked about the expectations of your players. What are the expectations of yourself? You put a timeline on, I want to hit a Rose Bowl in this season and next season.
He's not going to fall for that, Sam. It's not his first rodeo.
Yeah, we're looking to improve every day. That's our number one goal, is making strides forward in every area, on the field, off the field, in the classroom. And if we can do that, we're going to make Purdue very proud.
I'm Dave Banger with the Journal and Courier. You said that Mitch Daniels reached out to you. Number one, how did he identify himself? And number two, what did he say?
He says, this is the governor. No, he was very supportive. He called me yesterday. We spoke briefly for about 10 minutes, and he just kind of reinforced that, you know, he's going to be here for us, and that the things that we need to succeed in all areas, he's going to be there to have. So it was a very rewarding and fulfilling call from him.
Let's go over here.
This is Rich Nye with Channel 13 out of Indianapolis, the NBC station.